Welcome to our lovely future humans, our 5D collective. Those who are curious on the topic, I've been telling you we're going to talk about it for a couple days now. And if you're new at IHP, we all are very, very serious about being ourselves. So I use the word functional in our child adults. That's what healthy self worth, secure, attached, non traumatized people are. The 5D, it's Christ consciousness. It's also oneness consciousness. It's the body that is a restorative embodiment human being. Their self-help is working because they took care of themselves. And when we see cowards, we're angry at you in a way of, all right, it's, we grieve the fact I won't ever get to meet you. But hey, you don't have to access your full self. I can't make you. So we're going to chit-chat a little bit about why truly advanced societies don't fall for mass delusion. Yes, somebody made me laugh in my butthole as they mentioned these two words together, and I spotted advanced society fall. Yeah, wait, that doesn't make sense. They're not advanced if they fell, especially if they did so with mass delusion. Okay, you must not know how to be yourself smart. Stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable. Functional child adults, we know self-awareness because we're sovereign of ourselves and sovereign of our nervous system. So sovereignty, it's when you can be a self-regulating badass. You move out of forcing courage and strength. Apparently, I didn't realize that was me being strong at 4, going home crying because boys rejected me. I also didn't realize meeting twin flames would be something that I was supposed to have a medal of honor. Your ego doesn't die, but your ego and yourself work together, which is amazing, which is why you spot the ones who fall for the masses. The mass delusional people, there are a bunch of different groups out there. I mean, it's amazing. When I see 3D, 4D, I'm like, wow, they're coming up with shit that I would never have imagined. And people think I'm not making fun of them. I'm like, wow, I'm a 3-year-old right now. I'm like, that's amazing. But I do know God's perfection. His children are meant to get along. Unlike those who like to use the Cain and Abel story, I like to let you know if it's the one who's jealous, they need therapy. If it's the one who's fulfilled, that's great. Hopefully they're fulfilled in the way of being a person who is truly fulfilled, because sometimes they pretend to be fulfilled. But meantime, no monster, Lucifer, no evil in a way of someone being, not recuperable. Yes, all children of God can be recuperable. They have free will to go to therapy, and they will be able to recuperate every single bit of their self if they want. They don't have to, so it's okay. We do understand. I do know. Go tune into the other episode if you want, and to the short, and we're going to talk about it some more. Your body mind connection, yes. It's only going to be true when you're alive, not pseudo alive. So you know ventral vagal state. So when I'm going to give you the perfect example, this human being, I love them to death. I know where they come from, where they've been. They're in my future life. And in fact, I leave planet Earth with them. And from a moment of laughter, we go to a moment of where I'm getting yelled at because I said these words, which automatically what happens is when people have core wounds that they don't heal, that's called they react. So I'm getting now basically yelled at, quote unquote, but because I'm a master of Maria and I love my friend to death, because that's how it works when you truly love people and you don't actually think of maladaptive patterns of behavior, thanks Stephen Porges, as bad behavior, because biologically rude people didn't choose to get treated like little pieces of shit. So there's no monster behind anyone. In fact, actually I know every single bit of the story, which is why my heart breaks. And my heart breaks even furthermore to the fact that there's no intelligent minds around to get that individual the help they need. So I'm very proud of myself. It's called integrity when you have it, versus the ones who actually, in 2 years' time, I got to observe what is called, let me think, Diego from Ice Age. You remember Diego's family? Yes. In human terms, it's called people who need therapy. Like the entire herd needs therapy with a family and beyond, like Terrio, Patrick Teahan, Bezel Vandercook, you bring it on. You lock them in a room for I don't even know how many years, a dozen, 24, it doesn't matter. Point is, then once they get out, if they chose to say yes to the EMDR, tripartite somatics, then maybe I'm going to meet who they are. Other than that, does anybody know what plebeians are? Yes, so when I meet plebeians, mediocre people, I don't actually find it humorous. I met them as a teenager. I'm now a grown woman. I continue to meet them, and all I can think of, the medieval times ended a long time ago. Oh, wait. All of them also talked something about, was it their spiritual? Yes, and they actually had the capacity to be very, very much spiritual bypassers, like many others who want to say there's a good and an evil, and then they want to label those who they have decided to outcast and to call evil. And I'm like, the modern day therapists have answers to pretty much every single bit of bad behavior out there. It's not lack of imagination for evil, lack of education. Oh, I forgot. I found it hard to believe that my first years of life, a lack of capacity to accept information as true from those of us who are intelligent enough to learn from those who know the body and mind. And wait, what else? Nothing. Ignorance, suffering. It's actually quite hilarious because there's a person out there who's like, that's how you learn. Suffering, ignorance, and rage. Yeah, rage don't do shit for people who stay vengeful inside. So, all that being said and done, I'm in communion with God and I love Jesus. He's the reason I'm here, and Holy Spirit. There's no monsters inside any of cowards. There's people who could use therapy. This is what my contribution is. Inspiring human potential. Yes, I love that every single one of God's children will be able to be themselves one day. The ones who don't want it, it's okay. We have people who don't take their children to hospitals and they actually believe they're more of faith. So really the same thing is happening again. There's the ones who believe that they are true spiritual ones, and I will say, wow, you don't know Sam Harris. So here's Sam Harris, a quote. If your beliefs are not falsifiable, if there's no scenario that could convince you that your most cherishable opinions are an error, then that's proof that you didn't get them by being in contact with reality. Also, when you use the word belief or truth and you lack the capacity to continue learning from educational material, researchers, academics, and every single bit of sciences and academia, then you're out. I don't consider that a person who knows what they're talking about. If you've stopped learning, now you're stopping, and now you think you know everything, and now you're going to close up your little box and you're going to give it to me with a little bow tie, and we're like, yeah, that's a bullshit box you just gave me. We're not dead yet, or I'm not dead yet. So yeah, you keep talking to the fools who want to follow you. I'm going to follow the ones who get chased down the hallways and continue mingle and tingle with their colleagues because they're not afraid of the competition. That's what I'm going to see. So people who fall for the bad self-help, it's because they don't want the good self-help. No, they don't want good therapy. They don't want self-help. In fact, that's the part. I grieve. I'm angry, not in a way of rage. No, I'm actually like with my facade friend. All I asked you was to be yourself. But I saw his face. So, buffoons, that's what they all are. They're a clown. I get to meet the clown asshole. It's a 16-year-old with a 3-year-old who's got a broken heart. I actually want the 3-year-old to feel loved. The 16-year-old becomes a moron at a certain point, and then eventually they become donkeys, and you need to respect that. It's actually quite, I don't even know what to say. As a mystic, I've been with my oversoul my entire lifetime of this one, the last ones, and the future. It's okay because I'm all dharma'd in. My empowered feminine, my empowered masculine, but all I can say is you really sometimes think, hey, Dan Martell, the most dangerous person in your life, the one who makes you comfortable with mediocrity. No, not really. Actually, there's no danger for intelligent minds because we spot the mediocre ones a mile away. They usually will tell us that they think they know everything. That they don't like new information. The left brainers, they don't notice that the right laughs at the left because they don't have that connection yet. Mine is, what? We are doing the diet. I'm going great with the diet. It's giving me wanders. And so with that, let me continue. Mass delusion, yes, it is due to the lack of inner nervous system sovereignty and emotional regulation skills. So when you meet a 16-year-old, they're not actually being made on purpose. Oh, and healthy boundaries are easily presented with the tone of, so I think you are talking to the wrong person. And I will repeat myself again and again until you realize this. And actually, it doesn't take more than 3 times for a ventral vagal state energy to be like, I ain't shitting you. And this is going to stop now because it's with respect. It's with acceptance, but it's firm. And you know what else? A nervous system with another nervous system. I'm a whole 3-year-old. I'm not a broken one, so you can't shame me. I'm also not my 16-year-old version. I'm in my prefrontal, and when those laser eyes hit a person who's got shame coming up, and all the attachment wounds and all their non-metabolized 0-8-year-old, it's not a badass with, no, it's a human being grown in prefrontal cortex with another one who knows, oh shit, she's not joking. And that's pretty much about it. Luckily, as grown-ups, they don't waste their time trying to, screw with you. Teenagers, on the other hand, like to poke. I have one human being who every now and then I have to get off. And he's actually a child, and I love him to death, but yeah, he's sometimes that teenager. I don't have stories for you right now. I want to tell you some more about advanced societies. Okay, mass delusion. Yeah. So again, lack of inner nervous system sovereignty. Bunch of people are dysregulated. They don't want therapy. That's why. Then they just shit on self-help and spiritual, and some are spiritual bypassers, by the way. They sell services at absurd prices. I'm not even kidding you. And good therapists are more accessible than some of these who will transform you. Yes, please go transform yourself. Wow. If you have to do that, that's a clear red flag. You don't love yourself first because you need transformation to the umpth degree of, well, again, it's obvious to anybody who is smart what's happening. Be yourself the smart way. You're beautiful just the way you are. Yes, you are. But if you don't feel it, self-loathing, gut wrench, torn apart ain't going to be transformed by somebody who's selling you a story. But you might look pretty and think you're pretty. I'm so pretty. Oh, so pretty. And there you go. There's Snow White, Cinderella, and any of those cartoons that people love and their little dopamine hit to make pretend they are in their heads, outside. I mean, I see grown human beings consistently dressing up. Escapism. Yes, that's something. So, advanced societies don't collapse or fall for mass delusion because they're made of intelligent minds, which means people of those societies, they know how to discern. I love when people use the word and they don't know how to discern. Wait for it. Hold on a minute. I have some more quotes right here. Here. So here's Stephen Porges. He's the man. Let me show you some books. These people are my heroes. Dr. Daniel Siegel, Interpersonal Neurobiology, if you want to learn everything about the brain, but you need to embody self-regulation. Otherwise, you're going to ask for shortcuts. Integration has a process, 6 to 8 weeks, I believe he said, for one new neural receptor to be produced. And when someone doesn't understand the explanation, it's because they didn't want it. They wanted to hear, what's the shortcut? And that's because they want to sell a product called let me help people. No, called let me tell people I have a shortcut for integration. There's no shortcut. And lovely Stephen Porges, who's still doing research because, as Wikipedia points out, it's not yet proven. Quantitative data analysis, it's a very serious. In the meantime, thanks to these two human beings and more, we have people who are not only healing, but they're becoming most amazing because we get to meet who they are finally. It's nice. So people who are smart, they're discerning, they're equanimous, and they're loving, and we're lightning and love. Oh yes, because we choose compassion. Emotional regulation, you have to have it, otherwise you can't choose compassion. You also are compassionate. Without compliance, I'm not going to give you rules. You do you and I do me. I'll meet you where you're at and I'll reiterate my healthy boundaries. It always works, by the way. Self-awareness, yes. Discernment, yes. Nervous system sovereignty, yes. The ability to sit with uncertainty. Yes, we deal with uncertainty, unexpected, unwanted, with open-ended inquiry. That's why we didn't force strength and courage from tears or anger or fear or surprise or happiness or disgust. We actively, open-endedly inquired with curiosity. So you become more of a humored ego self by yourself as you meet morons. Year after year after year, it just got easier and easier. So today when someone says, what? You actually had fun with it? Yeah, why wouldn't I? Excuse me, you're confusing science spirituality. No, I'm not. I bring them together on my podcast, on my YouTube channel, everywhere. I'm a mystic. I'm a Reiki master. I'm an Akashic record reader. I'm too. Okay, that's called they're now comparing themselves to me, which I don't mind. I have a twin. That doesn't change what I just said. I don't need you to see me, soothe me, safe, secure. I know where I read. I know who I learn from. And actually, I trust my gut. I discern the information. And I'm very good at reading. Even when I don't like something, I read it. Because I'm like, Maria, it's important. They know shit that you don't. Yes, you're right. So when people instead get triggered into either mobilization defenses or shutting down, they develop elaborate narratives to make sense of what their body's doing. Thank you, Stephen Porges. As he points out, he hopes therapists will find out that the triggers, words or scripts are context, these are physiological states, not words, basically. Yeah, tell them about it. So Pat Ogden informs you about this body stuff too. And the people who continue to think that they can tell themselves how to heal don't know Dr. Daniel Siegel. No, you don't heal if you have structural dissociation by yourself, because your first 3 years of life are implicit memory. You don't have to heal, but you're not going to do it just because you have information. And like Patrick Chan points out, you can buy your way to Boca Raton. You won't heal the leaving a legacy of self-righteous, contemptuous batons behind. Bunch of spiritual bypassers. They're all over it, which is why 3D, 4D. I won't be dismantling them because, like I said, we have people who think they're more faith because they don't take their children to hospitals. Then they send them out into the open. And I'm going to say that's pretty unfair because you didn't actually have them prepared to be out in the open. You just sent them and said, this is the free will choice, really. That's not free will. It's called, you prepared me to live a life in this place. In the absence of helping me to know what the other place is, you didn't give me a choice. You made sure that I would be isolated so that I wouldn't live in another place because I'd be influenced and polluted, or whatever the words they probably use. Like when someone recently said, God doesn't need science, Maria. That's why they don't actually talk about decentralizing in the self and the religious experience. And I saw demonic possession and people looked at me weird, and I'm like, okay, again, well, you know what? Intelligent. Sure you are. Faith, sure, keep talking. I mean, I don't know who to, no, I do know who to believe. It's called I Learned Data. Neil deGrasse, Bill Nye, you all amazing. Science people are amazing. So hold on for it. What you find out is a bunch of people use words from other people who are doing the hard work, like play. I bet. It's just amazing. Yeah, no, it's not. I'm being sarcastic right now. May your decisions be based upon what truly matters and works, not upon your likes and dislikes. Thank you, Sadhguru. And never think in terms of who is doing better or worse than you. The only question is whether you are doing your best. Thank you, Sadhguru. I don't like liars. I'm a 3-year-old right now. I never have liked liars. I'm a 5, I'm a 6, 7, 8. I despise liars. Fucking cowards. 16-year-olds, 17, 18, 19, 20. Hey, God, no Lucifer, just a bunch of cowards. Hey, God, guess what? I'm a mystic. Hey, God, guess what? And today what I can tell you is, hey, God, so all of our lovely human beings out there, they're healable. The modern day therapists know exactly how to get every single one of them home. Oh, and I was informed by the somatic therapist that it's okay, that us children who are worried about our brothers and sisters don't need to worry, that their home is waiting for them. Their body is wanting to go home. But guess what happens to the masculine left brain? What's up? You smart? Yeah, sure you are. No, you're not. Left all by itself, between cognitive dissonance, structural dissociation, I get to meet a 0-8-year-old version of a person, and that's why it's not fascinating to meet those who don't know. Human is not a resource. A human being is a tremendous possibility. With the right nurturing, they will blossom into someone remarkable. Thank you, Sadhguru. And as he also points out, a spiritual master or a guru does not judge somebody based on what they are right now. A guru will look at what kind of potential each disciple carries and to see, yes, they can see how to bring it forth into fruition. Just like a third attunement repairing ruptures. An emotionally mature, regulated human being, they don't have to be a woman or a man. They need to know how to use their nervous system, see clearly, and as a wise adult, I'll accept that you don't want to see yourself. I'll even respect that you chose not to see yourself because your body was that hurting. And Dr. Amy Pegan explains all about bad resilience. I will take every single bit of bullshit, but don't give me your leaders. They're all Wendy's. So when someone wants to say intelligence and they follow a bunch of buffoons around, no. I'm going to not spotlight them because I'm not a cynic and I'm not actually trying to spotlight those who are giving the children a home like flat earthers because they were not seen, soothed, safe, secured to the point of where they decided to buy into bullshit, not notice. So you don't believe in evil? No, because it's not a belief. I actually have a data criminologist. Thank you, Michael Stone, as he points out. They're all on a scale and it's all actually quite obvious, especially when I'm doing great as can be, Maria. Random human being, not doing great. Not at all. Father of a daughter, divorced or whatever, because that didn't work out, telling me how they are sleep depriving themselves so they can go fuck and drink a bazillion, and then, not to mention, they fell the week prior, him and another woman, on the floor. They're not dead, thank goodness. Then, more than just that, okay, so when we're randomly talking about another human being, ego, what does it do? It takes all this information that I'm talking about, as we're talking about a human being who needs help, and telling me in my face they're doing great. No, I didn't say, no, you're not, because that would be rude, and I'm not that, but also that's not what came to my mind, as I also heard the other human being adults say, the system's trying to hold us down, and they're like, yeah, the system's trying to hold us down, and that's called, the one dude is actually a shaman for the unseen, so it was automatic. He's like, I'm gonna get this shit going, and you then think of teenagers, I did, that were morons, and then college students, and then I'm like, I'm busy now as a grown woman, but yes, thinking that drinking all the coffee you can do, yes, people who are actually very much unhealthily leading their lives. So long story short, smart people don't treat themselves like shit. Smart people also don't go randomly speaking shit out of their mouth without noticing, did I just say that? wait a minute, I'm about to die of a heart attack though. Wait, where are you, Stephen? I'm sorry. Trauma is not the event, it's a response. When you deal with trauma victims, their nervous system is neuroceptive. The neuroceptive state, yes, that has great advantages in detecting a predator, but it is totally compromised in being social. Yeah, thanks, Stephen Porges. I know. And so, again, I love these people. I don't have any issue with them, although the one who keeps on wanting to try to talk to me, I definitely didn't enjoy our conversations, but I have to be polite, as my mother taught me to be polite. But the point that I was trying to say is that a guru, spiritual master, anyone who's spiritual and in communion with God will know, as Sadhguru points out, that you will not be neglecting anyone just because they're not where they need to be. So just because today they don't have the necessary capabilities doesn't mean tomorrow they won't. And the ones who want to say, I know they can't, that's for them. No, I know anyone can go get their maladaptive patterns of behavior handled with a good therapist. And anyone can, once they are done with the MDR, chart parts work, somatics, continue to be open to open-ended inquiry and get curious. Now, if you don't want to, there's a Zen master out there for the laundry that people have. I went, I'm like, no. And I think in my mind's eye, I have a little girl who's crying for real for good reason because she's physically in danger. And then a human being who spent a buttload of money on therapy and then does this and want to say self-help is crap. No, self-help ain't crap. Just say you don't want to be a big girl who can cry or big boy. That's okay. You don't have to. But you better bet when I'm hearing somebody wheel their mouths with... I need to pause because I'm getting too much fun right now. So if someone calls society advanced because of its technology, its systems, or its access to information, well, I'm going to say they lack the capacity to remember what is at the core of a society. Does anybody know? Because what's at the core? Yeah, it's people. Yeah, because, didn't our ancestors invent the wheel? Were they advanced at I'm sure they thought they were advanced. They probably didn't even use the word. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. Who knows? But someone talking about advanced without noticing. If we still have the masses, well, I'm pretty sure we're not that advanced. But I don't think I'm afraid of anybody losing either. Oh, yeah, and I don't need a good team and a bad team because there's two teams. Smart team and the other team. And so... advanced, yes. Access to people, no. People are not objects. People can be smart, or if they're not, then they're not. So the absence of intelligent minds, that is what a society that is not advanced has, while a society that is advanced will have intelligent minds. That's a hypothetical, because I haven't met any of the advanced society. Then again, I come from the future, so I have. So, society that just knows how to create objects and things, sure, they're not advanced. Like I said, our society's built wheels. I don't think they were that advanced. And so, a society to survive also needs to stay up to the times, unless they're deciding everything is fake, like the moon and the cosmos and the stars, and So, societies survive thanks to intelligent-minded people, not thanks to objects and things, although... we need those objects and things because the sun will go out one day. So we need both, but it's advanced with the intelligent-minded ones. Thankfully, we have them. So thank goodness. So the ones who are afraid that people will use their technology for evil, well, we already know this is the whole thing of playing with words. There's evil and good always, but the intelligent ones are the grown-ups who know how to discern, which is why we're not actually freaking out, because we have always good intentions. Although they're not enough, thank you, Sadhguru, because we need the right actions to be performed, but they can only be performed with the right consciousness, yes, which will produce the necessary results, which we're already doing, because that's the whole point. Anytime someone thinks humanity is not where they're needing to be, with an idea of us actually needing to be fixed, there's faith in humanity being broken. My faith in humanity never broke because I'm a human. So when I say there's intelligent minds, and when I tease that we're future humans, is because 4D, 3D don't know we're here. I know there's intelligent minds. And it's not the objects and things that we've created. No, we only need a certain amount of emotionally mature minds to spot that which is called every bit of where the missing parts are, and there you go. The ones who don't notice it, well, they're busy doing something called the other soul age groups. I'm in the Enlightenment soul age group. So that's for another time. Some think that intelligence means being informed, but true intelligence is the ability to pause. Yes, because words, I've heard people, they regurgitate shit. That's not intelligence. That's just a bunch of books. Blah, 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 blah. It's almost like having a little gun with words that are hitting your head. I'll never forget the first time I had this interaction. I was actively, this is a hammer. It was like a hammer with nails, and my head was just so hurting. But it wasn't because it wasn't a bunch of words that made sense to them. It did. I just don't need that. That's regurgitation. It's just awful. But anyways, so yeah, true intelligence means you can pause because you can regulate your emotions thanks to you being sovereign with your nervous system. And so you access your full self, and you can question what you're consuming. Yay, we know what we're reading. And it's not about what we like to hear or don't like to hear like little children do who grow up and begin to throw away books just because. And you know what? I'm starting to think that when they decide to burn books is because that's the level of immaturity we had. People with books, oh, let's just delete it. Now we have a digital sphere, so it won't be deletable. But then again, as a mystic, I can tell you all about the cosmic field and Akash. So it's amazing. Yes, no intelligent-minded person bases how they think on belief, because that's like, seriously, whenever people use that word, I'm like, I believe in God. Other than that, I have experiences with the mystic stuff and spiritual stuff. Then I have sciences, and I know when I'm meeting the ones who are in academia and not. I have a bunch of shit that I love to learn. This is, what are you doing? Why are you taking out these people? Like, yeah, you can bring the past into I'm not going to cancel what I'm learning now from future people that know what they're talking about with all of their information with the yesterday. Yeah, because they some of them, they don't know the devil's not real, because they continue to want to put that word demonic, devil, into anything they don't like. So it's become a word that has no meaning to a person who knows, what? You don't like meat. Just say that. It's okay. You don't have to eat it. It's not the devil. It's not a demon. What? You don't like that organization? Again, you really don't need to use that dictionary like that. And really, you must not know the criminologist, Michael Stone, and his forensic criminologist scale to use an appropriate measure of that, which is called scientific exploration of those who are brains. They have minds. I'm so sorry. Do you not know what an embodied brain is? I'm just thinking. You're just wanting to play with words now, and you're playing to crowd, the dumb ones, not the ones of us who are like, excuse me, did you just call a bunch of people who, yes, need help? Again, a name. Did you demonize them? You dehumanize. You need to distance yourself, because that's how enraged you are. I see you don't know how to work with your anger. This is how a person who's informed could tell you. I don't do any of this with people, because the reality is none of them would let you. They're not going to sit in a therapist seat, let alone are they going to sit through something like this. And if I wanted to have fun, I would not be having fun as a grown woman with any of this. As a teenager, you can have fun with ego, but as a grown human being, you don't want to be near one. It's just, tell me what you want. Okay, now you got it over with. I'm so happy that I heard you out. Great. Now can I go on with my life? Please. No, I didn't mean it that way. I'm so sorry. And this is why my loved ones are like, Maria, you don't know everything. And I said, I don't know everything, but sometimes people waste my time. They keep talking to me about being better behaved with that, which is called nonsense. And I say, you know what? I share nonsense all the time. You're right. I do. So an intelligent-minded person doesn't react first to information. Sometimes you do react to words, but we don't want to. That's why self-awareness, accountability, and regulation with mindset is amazing. I love all of the practices I get to do, because sometimes I'm reactive too. And then I'm like, shit, I missed one. Oh, wait, that means I get to do more of Maria, self-awareness and emotional regulation. How much fun is that? That's how we work with ourselves. You see, it's not that's not how we do it. It's like, okay, I'm getting more curious. Do you know why? As a spiritual one, God never gives you more than what you can handle. I have to this day, I'm like, hey, God, so listen, I saw it all. I only had one thing that I told God at a certain point, and that was the moment that I was broken free from fourth dimension. I'll never forget, because I came across a lady who thought that we had skipped it, and I know why, because she's in it. And then I came across, thank goodness, Patrick McNamara with decentralizing in the self and the religious experiences, like, okay, and all those big words, post-traumatic growth, and I'm like, okay, it's not traumatic for me, but I get it. I get what you're saying. So yeah, I was talking to God. I'm like, I don't really give a shit about that, or that. That all can go to fucking hell. If for all I care about this thing, this, and I know I can't do anything. And no, I didn't say hell. I don't do that. But I said, and I know that this thing I can't do anything about because I'm not that soul. They have to decide if they want to come back or if they want to stay or whatever. So that was very much, and I felt like my hands were tied behind my back. And luckily for us, it went well. So I'm happy. But he heard all about it. That's how it works. So you're not afraid of God. He encourages, strengthens, supports, comforts, and then Akash and Source, they all work together. And when you're a tarot reader and you're asking questions again and again, and they've given you the answers, they're like, okay, we're answering you. It's the same answer. You don't like the answer. The answer is not changing, Maria. And that's how it works when you're a reader. And when someone actually tries to trick you, by the way, to read about you and them being in a relationship, I'll never forget this person as they're actually asking me to have a relationship reading with me because they were desperate, not because they're really into me. They were just lonely, and I'm like, you do realize you're making it very challenging. I know my story. I don't want to read to you my story. In fact, there are things that came out I didn't tell them. My story, I'm not going to tell you stuff that comes out because you're actually, so this was fun. An intelligent minded person. Okay, so we don't react to information. We assimilate it first, and then we wait for more information, and we also validate the credible sources. Yes, we do go check credentials all the time, and those are researchers, academics, the ones who are subject matter experts like Neil deGrasse, Bill Nye. No, we make fun of pseudo intellectuals, the dogma people, the ones who play Russian roulette. They tell us that it's a woman's bosom. People don't like the truth. No, people don't like a lot of things. It depends which group you're talking to. You're talking to smart ones or the ones who don't know what the truth is. So the distinction, yes, everything is basically an advanced society will be advanced because it has intelligent people plus the objects and things. If it doesn't, it's not advanced. Intelligence is measured by how well we discern, not by what we create. When our ancestors created the wheel, they weren't so advanced, were they? So to call a society advanced based on tools, it's bullshit. That's my personal subjective opinion. Yeah, because intelligent-minded, self-empowered, enlightened, sovereign people, that's what makes an advanced society. Other than that, we just got a bunch of people with a bunch of stuff. And the ones who are afraid, again, of their brothers and sisters, I know God, Akash Source, and what lifetime we're in, and what cycle. So, realistically speaking, no, I don't have proof, but what I do have is, one, I'm not afraid, because I'm not afraid of our species, and two, I know there's intelligent people out there, so again, I'm not afraid. And the ones who want to think they're more faith because they stay out there in the desert, well, that's why we have advanced civilization, meaning we'll accept that some people will decide that they're wanting to stay alone in their group. Flat earthers, are you going to join that group and just isolate and continue? Red flag, isolation. You can't hang out with people who have different ways of thinking and seeing. Oh, what happened when Elvis came around? They cut his legs off. So when you meet ignorance, that's always ignorance. It doesn't change. Mediocre people are not dangerous. They're just morons. For a person who intellectually and emotionally is like, wow, really? Whores, polyamory, whores. That's hilarious. What? Men are watching porn and now they're polyamory? Yeah, that's not how that works. That's how a grown woman will respond to any of bullshit of people who use stereotypes, generalizations, and words like basically without knowing who they are. They're just like teenagers, but they're grown human beings. They stay their 16-year-old version. In fact, they have to prove themselves to each other. It's also why they hang out with each other, which is not interesting. It's also why they don't want to come near us. Anchored inventor energy people, they don't like it because we're confident. And so they will be around us if they like to just hang around people that are anything, but they won't like when we will say no and shut down something, which is why you actually learn how to not shut them down. Throughout history, some of the most technologically advanced societies have fallen into mass delusion, not because they lacked data, but because they lacked self-awareness. Today, I'm going to say the same is true. We have those who lack self-awareness, they lack self-accountability, they lack self-regulation. They think they know just because they have a word that they know what it means. They don't. It's okay. Like Bezo van der Kolk points out, you don't talk sense to someone who doesn't know the difference between dysregulation, self-regulation. And as Patrick Tiahan points out, the first thing a person will be in when they go to therapy is the fetal position, pretty much, because that's where the emotional body was not online. So I get it. Some people will not want to go get their body connected, which is why their mind won't be theirs, which is why they'll fall for bullshit narratives of people who tell them shit. like a magical baton. And that's why when I was broken free from the 4D bandwidth, you better bet I was laughing at Maria, not at anyone else. And I thought of a movie that I watched, and I actually felt silly. And then I said, well, I actually know it's okay. I know how expansion of consciousness works. But yeah, I thought of, when you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. And I couldn't make that wish because it didn't matter if I made a wish. I didn't know if it was going to come true or not. And luckily, again, it did. Everything worked out fine. But my point is, I didn't think, oh, God abandoned me. God's testing me. Oh, Lucifer, monsters are. No, none of that happened. Number one, I don't turn my back on God. That was from my Christian Catholic upbringing. Holy Spirit, Jesus, God, Trinity. Just because some shit happens out there in the world doesn't mean God turned his back on anyone. Two, no monster is involved in any of the stuff that happens. No, it's all people in flesh. So I'm not confused. The ones who are confused are the gaslit children whose faith in humanity was broken, some way, shape, or form. Mine didn't get broken because a coward was always going to be a coward, which is why God keeps me away from them. I'm so thankful because seriously, I would have been ashamed of Maria had he not kept me away from specific people today with all the information I have, because no person chooses to lose themselves in the river of the night, in the middle of the night. Da, 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 Billy Joel, that song. I lost something sacred that wasn't meant for me to be losing. I'm getting tired as I cross the river. Yes, it's all dysregulation. It's all a person who doesn't own their sense of self. It's very sad. And then you think of those who, thank goodness, some of us can provide safe haven secure bases to people who didn't get the good end of the stick. And the people who want to keep on using monstrous stories, shame on them, because it's unfortunate. If they don't know how to forgive yet, there's a man named Patrick Tian, where you go heal your trauma, and then you don't forgive anyone if you don't want to, but you leave alone the grown-ups who do know how to forgive, because it's compassion without compliance to the fact that physiological state of compassion means you use your prefrontal cortex. And when you explain to people how the embodied brain works and they don't know it, I found it hard to believe. Again, it's bullshit. But believe me, it's okay, because for all I know, there's a bunch of people who are going to be like, I don't believe you. Don't believe me. I'm actually not only sharing information that I'm learning still. I'm pseudoscience woo lady. I fuck it up and forget it. But I know me. So I'm not here to say, give me a like or dislike. I'm here as a person who has channels and has chosen mentor, content creator, podcast host, and I learn from smart people, which is why the only reason I'm talking about this is some persons like advanced society falls for. Like, okay, you don't know what an advanced society is. The minute you use that and then fall, it's like, okay. But then again, I play with words all the time. So, it is what it is. The people who fall for mass delusion and, yes, mass. Oh, I didn't mean to say destruction if I said that, by the way. And actually, I'm not afraid of destruction because, again, it's pretty clear for at least some of us. Dark matter, dark energy, please don't implode. Scientists, please keep doing research. I'm sure some smart human beings out there will continue to fund that, which is very important information. Please help us have air, water, and food. Please help the societies and help every single bit of sustainability happen. I'm sure everything else will fall into place. As for those who want to follow the masses, again, they're not concerned with them. I'm not like, oh my God, I'm so afraid. I'm actually quite sad for some of them. I didn't know. I had a hunch. I just didn't want to think that would happen. But the people who fall for mass delusion, they lack self-awareness and full access to self with body-mind connection, as I discussed in the episode When Embodiment is Refused, there are no shortcuts to body-mind connection, 5D Mystic Mentor POVs, and slightly hinted at in the short, I'm angry at those who don't want full self-access with body-mind connection, 5D Mystic Mentor POVs. Furthermore, I would like to clarify that my anger is grief at the knowledge that I will never get to know the real, not you, but the real you of those of our brothers and sisters and all of God's creations, because they will have chosen not to do the hard work, as Patrick Tian points out. And so, on Earth, so I am having ChatGPT support me. As I write titles, I ask, okay, so what did you think? What is it going to talk about? What did you understand? And it's pretty spot on. But then it gives me some sentences. I'm like, yeah, that's not it. No, this is not how we're going to phrase it. But I understand why, because of the fact that, it's ChatGPT and it's online. So Advanced societies aren't ones where everyone agrees on everything. They are made of intelligent minds who can discern. Discernment, it comes when you have self-awareness, accountability, and nervous system sovereignty, aka emotional regulation or self-regulation in ventral vagal state. A bunch of different words. That means compassionate without compliance. You don't have to be me, I don't have to be you. There's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s and how you're going to behave. You ain't a child, I ain't a child, so it's called functional child adults. That's why we grieve not being able to meet our brothers and sisters for real. It's also why we don't dehumanize them, but we also don't need to pat them on the back or say, oh, I'm so sorry, or like, yeah, keep your trauma. No, we don't have to do any of that. Accepting means that I actually, one, know that I can be seen as crooked, so can you, and that we're not going to use demons, evils, and all these words that mean nothing to a person who knows how to self-regulate by themselves, because that's what it's called, to be a securely attached and non-traumatized sovereign 0-1-year-old. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and all your child parts aren't projecting themselves. So your teenager is not spiteful towards your caregivers or your siblings, or that's why we don't have a Cain and Abel thing. We got like, okay, God, you could have let them both have it. Then you get attachment trauma educated and like, so that means the envious, jealous, insecure one, that is all Diego's family, people who need healing, they're all unsatisfied because inside they don't know how to self-regulate. But there's a solution. It's called doing the hard work with someone like Patrick Tian or Terrio, and then they can become like us and be fun instead of being grumpy bears. Well, I'm a grumpy bear. They're more like, no, not even Scrooge. Just say it's, yes, Gargamel and the Smurfs. They're more like Gargamel. So you don't need to be seen or accepted for who you are by others when you can discern. Your solo self is just great and dandy because that's why you're securely attached and untraumatized. I'm trying to explain the embodiment. Secure attachment gets defined by attachment coaches. They're supposed to be motivating their people to get securely attached because that's their health, and they say that it's boring. Secure attachment apparently is boring. Do you know why? Because the pseudo-life fantasy stage and the low gratification dopamine hit, which is yucky, it's not about relational joy, it's about whatever they're, again, the embodied 0-8-year-old learned how to make it in a body that had another bunch of bodies that didn't know how to co-regulate safely in their social engagement system. So humans are not safe, which is why the body's not safe. That's why we got a bunch of people who don't feel like they can be themselves in their own skin. It's called they don't own the sense of self yet, and you can better bet that it isn't funny when you get to see what happens to the children as the womb, the infants, and the ones that find it hard to believe. They can continue finding it hard to believe. Bethany Brand and Ruth Lane do a great job at explaining what it's like. So does Dr. Daniel Siegel when a person owns not a sense of self. When you see someone who doesn't own it yet, they do this. No, there's no energy vampires because, wait a minute, you told me you go to therapy, right? Awesome. So once you're done, come back around. Right now, what I can tell by your by your face is that you don't know how to self-regulate as a solo self just yet. So once you learn that skill, then you're going to know how to say, yes, I anchor ventral energy. Yes, I will recalibrate, means self-regulate while someone's yelling at me and being an emotionally immature, reactive human being because they didn't get treated right either. So I got treated fine, meaning myself is she's all here, so you can't spank me. Isn't my body. That's how a differentiated self answers a human being who's about to spank them. No, tells them no. Once they were done, my mother went to make my suitcase. That's why differentiation is very important. I am Maria. I think and feel however my 3-year-old wants, and you can't tell me otherwise. And no, I can't tell you either, which is why my ego is just as fun as yours. That's what we do. We have fun. And that's because we're like Sid, Manny, and Diego as a herd. We're not Diego's family. Diego's family treat each other like shit. They actually continue to blame some monster or some other external source. And you're like, okay, shame, blame, fault, revenge are for the low emotionally intelligent people who have not healed their codependent attitude and their mannerisms with someone like Patrick Chan, which is why they're all Cinderella and Snow White and they all need good and evil. They don't like the new modern day movies that are basically telling us why the evil ones aren't really evil. They all had shit go down. Yes, shit, S-H-I-T. So what do we make from shit? We make flowers because manure is what we cultivate with shit. Not me, but farmers. I think that's what they use shit for. Also, by the way, what I do love is that data's not shit. Narratives aren't shit. As when we see our brothers and sisters of 3D, 4D, we actually accept and respect their free will choice to choose to say B game. B game is mediocre. B game is not something that I look up or down to. It's like, okay, you did the best you could. Compassionate without compliance. I'm seeing you at your eye level. And that is all, because a 0-8-year-old who has no owner doesn't even know that they're still an immature, emotionally speaking human being, which is why they're not badass. They don't know how to wield their mouth in ways that are smart. Stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable is why advanced society fall? No. Lack imagination, evil? No again. Wrong, you lack education. Advanced doesn't fall, doesn't fail. Advanced means advanced. Oh wait, technology isn't advanced. It's just a tool that if we have people who know how to use it, like the calculator. Teachers help me to learn how to do the math and then to use the calculator. People who are scared of AI, they continue to blame things like social media, like AI. Yeah, they blame a lot. That finger pointing is bad manners. My mother taught me. You're in, you're in, you're in, you're out, you're out, you're out. Maybe I didn't do it that way. It was in my head. That's when I picked my second alloparenting crew, and I found out all the cowards were liars. That's why I'm not surprised with liars anymore. They're funny now. Now it's just fun, and I make fun of them, and they actually don't even know who they are. Go figure. No, actually, I do know why, because I'm going to leave it alone. So, when you're a solo self who can self-regulate and co-regulate safely, independently from other or others, that's why nobody fucks with me and we, our biosphere. Terrio calls it biosphere. Dr. Danny Siegel, the me thing, and I call it all of it and oversoul. So, yeah, nobody fucks with my zone, and it's not energy vampires, because, again, when they're down, you lift them up. And as a teenager, I did that. At a certain point, I realized they don't want to be lifted up. They're fucking okay with being down. Leave me alone. I'm happy all the time because I have ventral energy, not because I don't know what sadness or anger are. In a healthy way, I do. And fear and love work together. Love isn't more powerful because it actually doesn't live without fear. As your body is made to protect you, and the bear is actually scary, so are physically life-threatening situations, but emotional ones, no. The heart can't be broken. It's a muscle. Your thoughts don't get broken when you're a self who says, I don't talk to myself like shit, or like I'm some kind of victim. I'm not a victim. I'm not a piece of shit. What's going on? Oh, wait, I got ignorant fools around me. Oh, shit, damn it. That's how an intelligent brain, if I were a teenager of myself right now with all this information, I would have said that. I'm a grown woman. I'm so sorry for people who don't want to get their A game on. But I'm told I'm not supposed to pity a fool, and I'm also told I'm not supposed to call them drama kings and drama queens, and yet they are hooked on both their drama, their pseudo-liveness, their yuckiness, and then they say, wedding bells, and you think, no. My men friends as a teenager inform me I'm trash, and then a grown man also informs me that apparently I'm trash. And then you inform me that you thought wedding bells after fucking, which means you thought that by giving it away that you would have been gotten, wow. Were you disappointed the first time? Because now I'm thinking of Snow White, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, a bunch of, even Elsa, the most modern one, where it's like, no love at first sight. No, there can be. It's if you don't know how to healthily self-regulate as a teen, and you get to college, meet people who complain about fucking, you say don't do it, STDs, and then you continue to grow up and you get informed, and you're like, wow, so I met morons in college, in high school, as a grown woman. That's all I think is the same thing I thought when I began to, do we have homework? Boom! Basically in high school, I didn't give two shits about morons. Touch me, I'll rat you out. And I'm a grown woman. I can't rat anyone out, but you better bet if they want to use the word intelligent and advanced, I'm thinking if you are it, you probably won't use them that way. If you're not it, then I don't know, but I'm not going to probably be someone you want to maybe be around because, you can feel and think with ease as a functional child adult. Ventral energy, they don't like it because you're always happy. You're not happy always, Maria. You're suffering behind the scenes because we know you cry. Yeah, I do. I even have panic attacks. I just don't feel them apparently the way that, because I've been having fun time inside of my body. Curiosity. Killed a cat? No, it doesn't actually. Prefrontal cortex is amazing. Neuroplasticity, bright sides. I was annoying as a kid. I better bet your bottom. I know who I'm going to annoy right now, and it's not you because you're hanging around. You're having a good time. The ones who don't need to be here, it's okay. They think we're all fake. And that we have hiding. We're hiding something behind our back because kindness is fake, neutrality is fake, love is fake, compassion is every single bit of anything that's intelligent. I'm not actually afraid of them. The book Robert Sapolsky's book, Determined. I haven't read it yet, but he gets interviewed, and a couple of interviews. In one of them, he says what happens to nature, which is why any one of us who's in communion with God is not afraid of a monster that doesn't exist, because that monster didn't win the first time around way back when. He's never winning because he doesn't exist, number one. But because God is everything, and you're not it, I'm not it. So ones in flesh who continue to play magical baton, magicaboo, that's why I find them not impressive, and I am also okay with being judged, ridiculed. I don't know. They might just say she's fake, which is okay, because Dr. Daniel Fox mentions what split thinking looks like when somebody thinks they're so shitty inside, and they can't actually recognize when they're doing it, how it works. They will test kindness to the bejesus of it. When everything is going smooth and nice, they're going to have to continue testing it, because that's automatic, and they need that dopamine hit. So they're also just used to that, their pseudo aliveness. So once that is happening, they will think neutrality is something not good, because something's hiding, something's lurking. When the next shoe never drops, they have to make it drop, because they just can't sit still inside their body. And all of this time, every single bit of them is tortured inside, because that's the part of why it's so sad, and why I don't think sweet revenge is mine when I hear B-gamers out there doing what they're doing. No, I know that they did nothing to get themselves back online, and so they have a place called home with the flat earthers, the ones who isolate, whatever it is. So if that makes their ego happy because they have cognitive dissonance, I mean, really, grounded in reality people, where are you, Sam Harris? As he pointed out, if any of your cherishable beliefs are not falsifiable, then you're not grounded in reality. So a person who wants to tell me they're intelligent, if they are, then they know that any of their cherishable beliefs could be falsifiable without being triggered. So when someone wants me to believe in evil, it's no, I don't believe in evil. I do believe in love, because love, actually, it's not a belief. It happens in your body. Evil, on the other hand, is a word from philosophical religious textbooks that was created in an effort to explain that which today science can explain to you as the embodied brain when it doesn't function bilaterally, vertically, and overall integrated. So I have answers and explanations. I don't need people to like the truth. I don't care for them to, but you know what? Stephen Porges is spot on, because as soon as ego hears every bit of it, I'm doing great, Maria. Well, how dare you say wow, I didn't say shit. Nothing. What are you, Miss Perfect? Yes, actually, I'm a healthy perfectionist. So I'm so sorry, I didn't get broken. Is there a problem here? You can't tell people what you actually think. Because otherwise I'd be like, wow, you're really wanting me to suffer. I don't know. How should I feel about this? So when people accuse you of you wanting them to suffer, and they actually mean it, because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, you just say, wow, that's so sad. My heart broke. But you know what? Terriel, he is a man of a man, and I'm a woman of a woman, and yeah, if anyone has 50-50, I mean, your truth, I have to accept it. It's okay. I accept. Thank you so much. That's it. That's how it works. Like when my facade friend talked over me and pretended to be himself. And yeah, my facade friend, he's hilarious. So I don't like liars. I'm still the same grown human being. When I was a kid, I'm a grown up. I'm Maria. That's my name. That's my identity. I never actually understood how people could get an identity that's not their name. Like all of the things you do as you grow up. And what's up with the 2.0 version? Where's your other years? I'm 45.0 version. I'm going to be 46 soon. So what? You erase all your vulnerability from yourself? They're all there. I'll never forget when Sue Martin taught me what happens to the 3-year-old. I can't do it, Sue. I don't think you watch my content. I just did this as she's doing this. I'm like, oh my God, no. And she's like, what do you think it takes to suck out the life of a 3-year-old? And as she's doing it, I'm feeling every single bit of it. So I'm not you and you're not me, number one. I don't have to believe like you do, and you don't have to believe like I do. Nope. Being different is normal amongst people. Actually, being different is the no shit Sherlocks, but go to high school and watch them not be different, by the way. So when you're being different, there's nothing that is good or bad about it. There's difference. And having your body and mind being yours means that you actually can self-regulate. Otherwise, your body's not yours. Your mind is simply a 2-year-old that grew up in an unsafe environment and continued to say shit. Then teenagers got their heart broken and began to talk shit too. And then, that's why we have two groups of people. And the 5D are actually thriving because they're all grounded in reality. While 3D, 4D, well, they're not anchored in ventral energy, and they're functional child adults. But you better bet they got a good team and a bad team. So people who tell me self-help is bullshit, I say, no, it's not. Pseudoscience crap? Well, for some, but if you're intelligent enough, you would know what self-help is for. You would know that pseudoscience is not necessarily a danger, but you would also know the difference automatically between what a cult and a guru is, because you'd be a gut that knows what your best interest is. And that means you'll always have people respect you. And you will always respect people, because that's how my mother taught me as a 3-year-old. If you can't say something nice, say nothing. Then she stood up with me with manipulative grown-ups. And I know what the stare is like. And then I know how to behave. And then Jesus, God, and Holy Spirit taught me how to forgive. And then all the other smart human beings taught me what buffoons are. So I don't have compassion for buffoons. No, I do have. I just don't need to show it to them, because don't feel pity for me, Maria. I don't feel pity for it. How dare you take their side? I'm not taking sides. You defend the weak ones, the strong. Okay, really? Wow. You know, this is, I'm neutral. You have no opinion. It's called equanimity, really. It's called the smarts people energy. You know, but I don't do any of this, by the way, to people, because I'm pretty sure. But you know who knows this capacity? You ask my little sister. She's the one who presented the equation to my entire family. There's teenagers in the room. This is what she says. Put Maria in a room with them too. Watch who comes out walking and talking, because she was around me since I was 11, so she knows my 11-year-old, my 12-year-old, my 13, 14, 15, all of it. And then when I became a mystic, what happened to you? And she didn't mean it in a mean way. She's like, where's my logical sister who was learning all this, because I was very linear as a kid. That's where, as you grow up, you learn how things are all colors, but then you also know how to maintain grounded in reality. So a society that thinks their beliefs are more true than information and knowledge is one that has no capacity to self-regulate their nervous system. They're not relating to truth or to information. They're relating to what they believe is as truth, and that's regression. In fact, I find it hilarious when anyone wants to use words with me, and I leave it alone, because I really don't remember all different pieces of information, but also I'm in the presence of a reactive human being, because the minute you're asking me about truth instead of talking to me about shit, you just use the word that tells me that you are very much wanting to stay in whatever you've created in one little hand. And I don't want to disrupt your little ball. Go ahead, have a crystal ball. See into the future. Be your own truth. You see people do, my gut knows everything. Not really. My gut sometimes probably doesn't know a lot of things. So they're not relating to truth or to information. They're relating to what they believe in as truth, and that's regression. Just dressed up as progress by their use of words, clothes, and group herd mentality. Yes, like flat earthers who believe the earth is flat. But thanks for checking it out. You never know. And when I met the rude human beings who were treating someone like a little piece of shit, no, a big piece of shit, eventually I made it quite clear. I don't take the sides of people who treat people like shit, because you're not helping anyone by acting like Diego's family, and I actually don't need to point it out. But we love him. Yeah, you love. Yes, sure you love. You can't educate people about the information of attachment trauma when they don't want it, and they want to call people devils and demons, and someone sold their soul to the devil, an energy vampire, and they're the better ones and the spiritual. And so when someone's doing little group dress up, it's simply put, wow, I see you lack integrity, but you do enjoy your herd mentality. I don't do the herd, because I've noticed what happens with those who are teenage versions of themselves. They pretend to be someone. I don't do pretend. I do, this is authenticity. And how dare you follow people who treat people like shit, use words to demonize them, versus get humbled, get smart, get self-regulating, and then learn what humility actually is embodied, like equanimity, and like any of those who like to use the word God or Akash or Source. I think, wow. He encourages, comforts, strengthens, supports. He teaches grace and love. He is Son, the whole sacrificial lamb. Forgive, for they do not know. Blessed are those who believe without seeing. Okay, so Stephen Porges confirms biologically rude people don't know how to notice themselves. The only ones who don't like to hear it, my colleagues are against me, look, narcissists aren't healable, are a bunch of people. And that's why it's not the self-help industry. It's not the pseudoscience woo lady in front of you. It's a bunch of people who have a narrative for themselves. Don't get informed. Ignorance, not bliss. It's really annoying to see it. In movies, at least I can laugh. When I'm seeing in the street, I laugh too, because it's easy. You confuse in science spirituality. There's a degree for this now. But you know what is sad? There's 20-year-olds following around a bunch of people who are not healed and thinking that that's badass because they want to be armored in. because they continue to not know how to be vulnerable from their first 3 years of life, because that's what happens when a teenager begins to be an asshole. 11, 12, 13, 14, that's all I needed to meet the assholes. That's why they're all cowards. They're always going to be the same cowards to me. And the ones who suffer, those big, big cowards, well, if they knew any better, they'd get out of suffering. They'd learn to forgive. They'd make peace with the fact that sometimes things do happen, and they'd stop throwing around scarlet letters and passing on the baton of self-righteous and projecting charges. So you emotionally regulate, you get in charge, then you're going to have integrity. Wise adults don't point a finger. That's bad manners. Wise adults don't actually fake integrity. They know what it looks like. Wise adults don't teach children to hate each other. They teach them to love each other. Wise adults don't make up stories with good teams and bad teams, because wise adults say, here, let's learn about a bunch of things and let's get educated so that we don't maintain that which is called ignorance, and a lot more. So wise, anything wise, knows health is in the forefront, knows how to use information, doesn't play with words, doesn't play the masses, because the masses are fools for a reason, but we're all part of the masses. And so the responsibility of the wise adults, 5D mystic, spiritual, mindful, any words they want to use, is to say, hey, so we got knowledge. I'm going to share it. I found it hard to believe. And when something like that happens, that's okay. But at least you shared it, and that's it. Because seriously, I have to laugh when people don't understand what implicit or explicit memory are. And so those who just pretend to be grown-ups, they like to use their words, they like to use their leaders, and then they like to tell us they know everything, and they like to not notice themselves and how they deny every single bit of new information that they don't know and how they're reactive. So while they're cherry-picking information based on what they like and don't like, they're not discussing the new information. They're just closing themselves off in little boxes that are not only mediocre, they're small-minded, they're uninteresting, they maintain a level of limited capacity due to the fact that they are not friendly to that which is called intelligence. They don't want to grow information. They just want to blab and waste their time on other things. So mass delusion is not about misinformation per se. It is about a collective unconscious pattern and more. These are groups of people who are emotionally immature. Their adaptive child part is a child's version of what a grown-up coulda, shoulda, woulda done. They're using narratives that use ancient books, denying the new information, denying scientists. It's very clear when it's happening, by the way, because they're actually separating the ones that they want and the ones they don't want. They're separating from researchers in academia, which tells any intelligent mind, okay, you obviously are buffoon because school is important, and you can think whatever you want about school not being important. Dark ages, go, have fun. Go have fun with the people who don't take their children to hospitals and the ones who won't use science for anything in the future, because that's exactly where they're going to end up if they're that adamant about not wanting to continue to learn things. So small-minded people, they're not going to be ready to accept differences because they're also not ready for new information, and they just want to use yesterday's information. It's identities boxed up in like little Peter Pans with Lost Boys and Wendy's, unhealed core wounds, unhealed trauma charges, unhealed everything, and they don't notice that their effective realism is all over it. So with their little Braveheart stands, I want to be loved, well, it is right, now it feels right. Wow, you're all feels, dude. That's effective realism. Strong emotions make it feel like it's a fact. Your thoughts aren't fact. You're not broken free from it. You don't yet know how to discern, because if you hadn't noticed, what you just said is, I would prefer it to be a world where there's no feelings, and that's not possible. Because you're all emotions first. But again, let me continue. So their unhealed anger is what we get to see. And then they set up their little groups. The fear narratives, I don't like the word programming. So when I hear this word, which thanks ChatGPT, but I'm not going to use it that way, but identity programming, this is objectifying and not explaining. Nobody's programmed. You're not a robot. You have an embodied brain. It's, if I take all my muscles, anatomy, use human body science, please. No computer. And you're objectifying. That's called shame hiding itself again. And you're distancing yourself from the feelings, and that's why people don't know how to actually be themselves, because they're not able to say, I'm a human, and I have, and then go through all the steps. So the ones who need an object of themselves is because they're actually creating this thing called distance, and that helps them not feel. So it's all clear for the ones of us who are educated. When somebody's making up a story, authority worship, yeah, they especially think, I'm going to tell you what to do. That is what authority is. And you think, no, that's actually not at all authority. But hey, if you want to get yelled at like that because you think they're going to teach you how to spiritual dogma, spiritual bypassers, all the words that you want, I'm just using them all. They definitely lack emotional regulation skills. They have very, very, very not emotionally regulating anything. And in fact, like Patrick Chan points out, it's only once they go to therapy that they'll know all the emotions. So there will be a bunch of people who feel contempt and disgust for the wrong reasons. And they won't feel it for the right reasons. And I've seen it. He explains it very clearly, where whatever is the trauma that they're going through, the contempt and self-righteous is projected, so there's transference. So they're like, that's a disgusting person, they just treated me like a piece of shit, something like that. So they didn't learn how to become safe within their own bodies, and then to be able to understand, wow, some people, they're not healed, they're assholes like I can be, but the difference is they're an asshole with a biologically rude body. So we can forgive the B gamers. They don't want to get healed. I mean, that's as easy as it gets. Functional child adults don't feel helpless or like a victim when we meet emotionally immature people from the masses. We just think it's a good thing that they're far away from us because they wouldn't like our energy. So mastery of that which is called your nervous system creates intelligence. And so with that intelligent mind and heart, now we have the capacity to spot not only the 3D, 4D masses, our brothers and sisters, they're all on Peter Pan's island and on Pinocchio's island. On the other hand, those who are still here at our 1 hour mark, intelligence, it goes beyond IQ. We all knew that. IQ, EQ, and its emotion regulation skills, self-awareness, discernment, nervous system sovereignty. High five, people. High five, Jesus, Buddha, God. High five, ascended masters. Come on over. The ability to sit with uncertainty and to know 5D consciousness is about discernment. It's about you being a human being who's restored embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating, or it's not escapism. Spiritual bypassers, they have a good team and a bad team. They sell their services for like an eye and a tooth, and it's like, wow, transformation. Yeah, who's your bad team and who's your good team? These are some of the tricks that people tell people. So when you get on YouTube, you have to have a hero rise from the ashes with the pain point, and then you got to have a villain. In our case, we have no villains. We have A gamers and we have B gamers, but we respect that the B gamers did the best they could. Well, yeah, their parents too. They all decided to stay dysregulated and to pretend that they knew how to do emotions, or that they still are, and they are going to not see through narratives without collapsing into cynicism. Instead, those of us who see narratives through every single bit of it, we don't collapse in cynicism, because why would I actually be cynic? A cynic is a destructive mindset, like escapism is, and like unhealthy perfectionism. God, on the other hand, gave us 2 hands, 2 feet, every single bit of science, so that we can learn how embodied brains work, and they're all showing us how what Jesus said, heaven in the body, is true. What also Sadhguru says, the seed of enlightenment is true, and every enlightened one, yep, every single bit of every human out there is beautiful, just the way they are, but they need to actually see that. And it's only once they have that, which is compassion without compliance towards themselves and others, and then they know if they were set up to fail, that they decided to succeed. Some might have decided not to, because that's how painful self-loathing, gut-wrench, torn apart is, and basically the shame that comes from the childhood of those who, and the ones who don't want to believe every brother and sister is with the capacity to, again, take ownership of their mind, of their body. They don't believe in science, and they're obviously not a guru, a spiritual master, an enlightened one, because any one of those of us who are aware, every single human body on the face of this planet can definitely rise above, because they have a ventral vagal state. It's not a special body. They also have 2 sides of a brain, and they can definitely use the bright sides of neuroplasticity, since the neuroplastic agent of choice is called imagination. And they can contain their sensations, images, their affects, window tolerance to wind welcome, their meanings, body, behavior, and meanings. See, bam. Thanks, Peter Levine. He's another great. And so, yeah, everyone can do it. If they want to, well, they might not, but it's okay. So, consuming information and having social interactions without the use of emotional charges, reactivity, defensiveness is what we get to do thanks to self-regulation and empowerment. That's what it means to be a differentiated self. And you're around others, whether they self-regulate or not, doesn't matter. Anyone who thinks society's advanced just because it has created technology, so it's technologically advanced, doesn't remember what society's made of. People. And when we have those people who are psychologically primitive, trauma driven, externally validated, they need pats on the back, and they are easily polarized, well, people in cultures like that, mass delusion feels safe. Because it's what they know, what they're familiar with, what their beliefs are. This is not how reality works. So, like Sam Harris points out, they're not grounded in reality since their beliefs are nowhere near falsifiable, but they also deny the fact that they stopped learning in school and they don't believe in scientists who are. And they'll continue to do that. So, we end up having groups of people who don't take their children to the hospital, who want to isolate, and who therefore think that they're more believers and more the children of God than everybody else. And that's why none of them are God. They're all in flesh, like I am, which is why they forgot. Don't cast a stone. We're all sinners. And the ones who are the biggest disappointment of all are the ones who are supposed to be a vehicle to encourage, comfort, support, and to challenge in a higher self positive way towards love all of God's children. Science doesn't believe in God, but they definitely, thank you, Stephen Porges, Bethel Vanderkolk, lovely Dr. Daniel Siegel, Pat Ogden, Dr. Daniel Fox, whoever else I'm forgetting. As Stephen Porges points out, biologically rude people don't know what they're doing. Red, yellow, green. I get to use my green. Anybody else who's a grown-up gets to use their green and then notice when they're in yellow. And then, no, we don't have red typically. The red is only for the ones who actually will use a Pat Ogden or somebody to heal. And that's the part. If society falls for mass delusion, it's not advanced. It's a society that can be emotionally, mentally manipulated over and over and over again, and they don't know discernment, truth, knowledge, let alone intelligence. They know their group's leader's truth and their ancient book stories and their chosen beliefs. It's a very different story. It's not a program. It's actually human beings that are sheep in my book, and they're not sheep in wolf's clothing. And that bullshit statement even makes me laugh, because if there's one thing that humanity, who consistently has a broken thing with human beings, is they always make up some bullshit story because they're watching their fucking back all the time. So they don't know what it's kind to be at ease. They don't know what it's like to be at ease with that which is a kind person, and or with that which is a potential positive outcome, because the left brain is protecting them still. And our left brain does a really great job, thank you left brain, and our embodied brain at keeping us protected. So guess what happens when you're afraid of something? And people who are afraid of humans continue to make up bullshit sentences that have them watching each other's back in ways that are absurd. People who trust that which is our species, we don't just know, hey, dark matter, dark energy don't implode. Yes, there's people who need therapy. Yes, there's plenty of people out there who could be dangerous, but we can always keep working on our systems, which is what we're doing. So the sheeps, the ones who suffer their life, they suffer all of it, and I was told they wouldn't go anywhere, 3D40, but we can't pity them. That's their free will choice. So they disregard the lack of capacity they have to discern. They disregard the lack of capacity they have to be an intelligent mind. They lack also noticing that they're not a master of themselves, their body, let alone are they a master of their mind, because their thoughts are not theirs. If they were, they'd stop thinking they know everything, and they'd start reading stuff, and then they'd stop talking over people, and they'd continue to have fun in life. And so they cherry pick what they like a 3-year-old, but they got a 16-year-old attitude, and they lack self-awareness because they're not noticing the effect of realism. And they think that, I want to be moved, it is right, now it feels right. Yes, we want air, water, and food. And it's taken a long time for all of the people to use those technological advances the right way. So what do we already say? We have plenty of successful entrepreneurs out there. I know it. That's what's beautiful about our 5D collective. So I find it hard to believe. That's that one, never forget that. But there's a lovely person who also interjects, science and spirituality, they confuse each other, they don't go, yes, they do come together. Do the consilience approach, use 2 sides of the brain, come on, I know you can do it. So if a society can be emotionally manipulated at scale, if it is confusing of what is truth, it's because they got gaslit. That's why they need Patrick Chan. Anyone with a mask is confused. That's why you ask, what a cult leader and a guru, really? You don't know the definition? I can tell you, but really a good gut, a child who was raised to respect themselves and to know what a manipulative grown-up looks like, oh, you know immediately, get the fuck away from me. I will go call my mommy. And you don't say that as you get older. That's how easy it works when you're a kid who grew up in an environment, again, with playtime, got a twin, got a mom, got parents, got all that good stuff. No, 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 not all in the, little family on the prairie or whatever. No, no. Oh, yeah. Let me not forget the ones who think stepchildren or stepfathers, stepmothers love each other differently. Cinderella, Cinderella. Wow. So shameful people who put actually these words in the front of that which is called family. But then again, I have heard people say they sold their soul to the devil versus let's all go to therapy. Here we go. We're going to work. What is the Snow White with the dwarves? How's it go? The song. It's not. We're following the leader is Peter Pan. That's another one. So as we close on out, advancement. It is definitely not about agreement. It is about discernment, advancement. It is not about the tools we build. It is definitely about intelligence. So, advanced societies, we get to know what it means to build a better present, a better future, and that's what our human species has consistently done. The distinction between those who discern and those who don't is quite clear because the ones who are angry in a way that is of a child's game are consistently having a good team and a bad team. Those of us who are aware of, yeah, we have a world that's imperfect, shit happens, and that's okay because we're going to figure it out like our species has always figured it out. The ones who are disappointment are the ones who want to play that which is not their role to play. Because again, casting a stone. I never walked one day in your shoes. You've never walked one day in my shoes. At the end of the day, one body that can securely attached, be non-traumatized, is bountiful of more bodies. The ones who don't want it don't have to have it. It will be sad to never meet their true self, but we do know compassion without compliance, which means I'll see you where you're at. Then that will mean, no, I'm not going to become friends with you, but I will look at you the next time you look at me. No, the next time you're near a friend because, wow, you looked at me. So when you meet unhealthy self-worth human beings, man, woman, anyone who is as eloquent as can be, the minute that they have their faith in humanity broken, so they're seeing us as problematic and as if we need fixing or as if some shit's gone down, they are not actually in the present with being grounded in reality, noticing it's the year 2025. We all know where we have been. We know where we're at. And change. Not everybody likes it. And the ones who cut Elvis's legs off are now doing the same thing to that which is the present. AI, mystics, spiritual coming all together, you name it. That's just find a group. Just find a group that doesn't like another group. Or just find a group who says, we're special. We're more special than the other group. We are all really special. We all have differences. Like, come on, be yourself. The smart way. Stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable, self-help, self-agency. It's awesome. Mystic mentor, content creator, podcast host. Welcome aboard. We had some story time, some reading time. It was a pleasure to have you here, and we'll have some more of it. Again, I am angry not because I'm enraged. No, I'm sad that I won't be getting to meet all of my brothers and sisters in their full amazing glory because their open-hearted spontaneity was taken away from them and or more, and those who want to isolate, may they isolate themselves as they will continue to do. Advanced societies will continue to blossom, for they exist based on the intelligent minded people who are already here. 5D, future humans, because 4D, 3D don't know we're here because they continue to disregard the fact that they're betraying themselves. And so they don't want it. It's okay. We don't make anybody go against their own free will. And so if they're going to stay in their survival mode and their adaptive child part, they're going to be Wendy with Peter Pan, the Lost Boys, Pinocchio, the Island, all that good stuff. So in the meantime, though, we'll be back with more. Have a good one.